Today is April the 18th, 2002. My name is Donald Kramer, and I will be taking walkthroughs of the trees that we have cut, samples for metallurgical analysis from the World Trade Center debris. This is a overview of the yard here, where we have the samples, or the structures. We've been generally starting over here on the left, which is actually the south end of the field, and working our way right towards the north end of the field. And I'm going to be showing you the sections that samples were cut from yesterday. Yesterday was the 17th. And I wasn't able to do the cinematography yesterday, so we've made it out. Yesterday they made it out here to this point here, and we're going to work from the front to the back of the field here. The first column here is C68. And there are two cuts that are taken on C68. Moving down to this end here, this is the bottom end of C68. This has been hacked off here. You can see some of the cuts that were made along here. And we're actually looking at the top of this is the inside surface of this column here. And this is column number 1 from tree C68. The first cut here is from the spandrel that's attached to column 1 at the bottom. That's C1B S1. And here's the cut right there. This is part of the spandrel. There's part of the connecting plate that attaches this to an adjacent tree. Again, we're looking at the inside surface, so this would be, for example, a flange that's running vertically. The second cut on C68 then is taken right here. This is taken from the inner web of C68, first column, so about the middle of the beam, C1M IW1. Okay, now moving back, they're moving some of the structures around back there to take photographs of individual structures. So they've got a forklift back there. That's what that sound is in the background. This right here is this is part of C14, and we're looking at the bottom of C14. Yeah, I had to look at my notes there. That's the cutout, so that would be, this is the inside, and this is the outer side. And this is column 3 from that tree. Here's a connector plate right here, which attaches this to an adjacent structure. There are two cuts on C14. The first one is from a spandrel attached to column 3. What we're actually looking at here, there's this spandrel is bent over on itself at a 45-degree angle right here. So this edge right here is actually the bottom edge that runs between column 3 and column 2. It actually moves along there, comes up on this side here, and then this here is actually part of column 2, right here. So that is C3B S1, that's the spandrel at the bottom of column 3. The other cut is up here at the midsection, and that piece that is sort of peeled over on itself there, that would be the outer web. And this here is, I'm gonna have to check my notes here. That says it's the left flange, but I have to convince myself that that's the case. I think it might be the right. Okay, I had to double check something there. I misspoke. That piece that's peeled back there on itself, that's actually part of the left flange. This surface where it says save on it, that's actually the outer web right there. So there's a cut right here. This is actually part of the flange, and that's CM or C3M. So this is the middle of column 3, and that's a cut from the left flange. Okay, moving on, continuing on to the back. The next tree is C47. There are 4 samples taken from C47. As I move around here to this side here, we're actually looking at this tree from the bottom half. The bottom half is actually missing here. This is the lower spandrel right here, and it's missing from that point on. So we're looking at the outer web sections. Here's a connector plate here. There's another one up there. This is C1. This is C2. This is C3. And I will go here to the upper part here so you can get an idea of what it looks like from this end. So this is actually the top of C47, and again, that's column 1, column 2, column 3. There are 4 cuts from this structure. The first one is right here. This is the left flange of C1, and the cut is right there, and that is C1M. This is the middle of column 1. Left flange FL1. So C1M FL1. Left flange, middle of column 1. The next cut is here on column 2. Right here. Well, okay. It was already broken here, so they've taken a cut right here. This is also a cut from the left flange in the middle of column 2. That's C2M FL1. Okay, back up here. Okay, moving over to column 3. This is C3. This is the left flange here, and the left flange was cut off right here. That's C3M FL1, middle of column 3, left flange. And finally, up here on the top of the spandrel adjacent to column 1, there's a cutout, which I think you can see, and that is C1 TS1, cut from the spandrel adjacent to column 1, the top. Okay. Okay, continuing on towards the back, this is the next section. This is N99, N as in Nancy or Norman. And we are looking at this from the top. Here's a square cutout, so that's the inside. And then this right here is the outside web. This is actually column 3. That's column 2. That's column 1. This is the inside web here. This is the outside web. That's the outside web here. And you can tell that because of the spandrel, how the spandrel wraps around and attaches down at the bottom there. And this is the outside web, and this is the inside web on column 1. There are 3 cuts, 3 sections taken from this tree. As we move down along the inside of column 3, we will come to the first one, which is right here. The lower half of column 3 is missing. So what we're actually looking at here, this is the inner web of column 3. It ends right here. This is actually the outer web of column 3. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see that. This is the outer web. It's pretty dark in there. I don't know if... Yeah, I don't know if you're going to be able to see that or not. But basically, the outer web runs along here, through here and on down there. So that's the outer web of column 3, and that was taken about from the middle of that column. So that's C3MOW1. The next cut is from column 2, and again we're looking down the outer web of column 2 here. So the top here is the outer web, and this is the let's see, this is the right flange, which actually ends right here. There's a cut right here. This is actually from the inner web of column 2 on N99. This is actually part of the inner web. So that is C2MIW1. Again, that's taken from the middle of column 2, the inner web of N99. The third and final cut here. So this is actually the bottom of column 1. It's actually only attached by a couple of threads here to the top part. I'm sorry, that's actually column 2, I think. Yeah, okay. It's it can be easy to get turned around here, so I had to stop there for a second just to make sure I had my bearings here. This is column 1 here. This is the bottom of column 1. This is column 2. This is the inside. This is the lower part, the lower end. This is the spandrel that would connect to column 3, except the lower part of column 3 is missing. So this is cut. This is taken from the spandrel adjacent to the missing part of column 3. That's C3M S1. Okay. What's my next one? My next one is N13, which is right here. Okay. So the last, this is actually the last last section that was cut on the 17th of April, and there are four cuts that are taken from this section here. We're walking towards the bottom of, wait a second here, okay, this is the bottom of N13, N as in Norman or Nancy, and there's a connecting plate right there. This would be the inner web here, and that spandrel wraps around and connects right there. Here's a cutout down here. So this is column 2, and right adjacent to it, then this is column 3, and this is the outer web here on column 3. There are 4 cuts on N13. The first one is right here, and this is the inner web on column, that's a C, that's a C2, I don't think that's right. Okay, I remember this, yeah, that's a C2, but I think, I'll double check with Steve, but I think that we already caught that one, so it should be labeled correctly in the log. Excuse me. Okay, so this is actually column 1, and this is a cut from the inner web of the bottom of column 1. So the actual designation on this is N13 C1B IW1. Okay, moving on. This is column 3, and this is the right flange. This is the right flange of column 3. There's a cut right here, and that is C3B FR1. That's the right flange at the bottom of column 3. And continuing here, we have the spandrel attached to column 1, and this is a cut right here. That is C1B S1. Again, the spandrel attached to the bottom half of, or towards the bottom half of column 1. And so now we're looking at the middle of N13, and the top half is missing. And again, this right here is column 1, down there is column 2, this is column 3, and so I guess this one must be mislabeled too. I'll have to check with Steve on this one. I'm not sure that we caught this one. Yeah, I don't think this one's right. This one here, there's a cut right there. This right here is the outer web, and this is the inner web. So as you're looking at it from the bottom, this is the right of column 2. So this should read N13 C2M FR1. This is the right flange on column 2. Okay. Now I'll check back with Steve on that. Yeah. In my notes here it says C2M, so I'm pretty sure that that's right. So that's it for the for the 17th. I'll continue later showing the cuts that we took today on the 18th. Today is April 19th, 2002, and today I will be walking through the pieces of the World Trade Center that were sectioned for metallurgical, microstructural, chemical analysis. As I've said several times already, we've been working our way from the south end of the field up to the north end of the field. Yesterday I walked through the sections that were cut on the 17th. Today I'm going to walk through sections taken on the 18th. And at this point we're very close to being finished. We're going to start over here. Okay, the first piece is C32, and there are two sections taken from this part. We're looking at the top of column 1 from this particular structure. You might be able to see a square cutout from the inside web there. We're actually on the top here. We're actually looking at the outside web, and there's a connector plate right there. There are two sections taken on this column here. The first one is a section from the outer web in the middle of column C1. That's C1M OW1 to the left side of the outer web, and the second cut is taken right here. That is a cut from a spandrel. That's C1TS1, so the top spandrel to the left of column 1. The next column is C25, and here we're looking at the bottom of this column heading up towards the middle at that end. And there are two cuts taken from this column. This is column 1 from C25. That connector plate there on the right hand side, if we were to flip this over, it would be on the left hand side. So the two sections taken are taken here from the middle. The first one is taken from the spandrel to the right of column 1, and that is C1M S1. So again, we're standing at about the middle of column 1, and this is flipped over, so although from our perspective it looks like the left hand side, it's actually the right. And I need to find the flange. Yeah, okay. And the second cut is taken right there. That's the left flange of column 1 in the middle on C25. Okay. Okay, the next section is C40. And to give you an idea of the shape of this, this is the bottom of C40. So now we're looking at the inner web here on this column. That spandrel wraps down underneath so that this is the outer web here on this column. Down there is the inner web. There's a connector plate right there. That means that this top column is C3 and this lower column here is C2, and C3 moves up here and then continues on there. C2 is actually twisted right above this spandrel plate here. We're now looking at the inner web on C2 here, and then the column actually twists there and is now on the underside here. There are 3 cuts taken from C40. The first one is taken from column 2, and it is taken from the left flange at the bottom of C2 right there. So we're actually looking at the left flange here, and then there's the outer web. So that's C2B FL1. Hang on a second. All right. The second cut is taken from the right flange near the bottom of column 3, and that's right there. That is the I think I already said that's the right flange on column 3, C3B FR1. The third cut was taken here, and this is the spandrel to the right of column 3 near its middle section. That is C3M S1. Okay, the next set of columns that we're going to be looking at are S9 and S10, and they are in this pile right here. S9 and S10 are, well, S10 is actually lying underneath S9. There are the 2 columns that we have from S10. They don't actually appear to be connected in any way, or at least none that we're able to determine. On the top here is S9. There are 4 cuts from S9. And so you can see, for example, here's a cutout, that's the inner web. And then there's another cutout right there. We're standing at the bottom of S9. Column 1 starts at the top and is bent right here and continues right on down here. This is the bottom of column 1. Columns 2 and 3 are comparatively straight. You can see the top of column 2 up there to the right of column 1. And yeah, it actually kind of jogs a little bit there and continues on up here. No, that's the bottom. And C3, this is C3, it continues on and kind of moves over to the right on the video screen here a little bit. So the first cut of 4 is on C1, and it's right here, and the outer, it's taken from the left flange. This plate here is the outer web. This plate here is the left flange. You can see how it sort of curves and kind of twists at the same time. So we're actually looking at the left flange right here. So that's C1M, middle of column 1, left flange. C1M FL1. Okay, the 3 other cuts are up here near the top. I'm gonna have to do a little bit of jiggering here. Okay. So now we're looking at column 2. This is the top. The second cut is taken from the outer web of column 2, right here, near the top of column 2. That is C2TOW1. The final 2 cuts are, well, the third cut, we'll start with the third cut here. This is column 3 of S9, and this is part of the spandrel to the left of column 3, and right here you can see the cut line, and that is C3T S1, and right over here we're now looking at the left spandrel here on the top of column 3. There's a cut taken out of the left spandrel. That is C3T FL1. So I'm going to stop this and then get down and show you the cuts on S10. Okay, now we're going to continue on, and I'm going to show you the cuts that were taken on S10. We have 2 columns here from S10, C1 and C2, and S10 is actually lying underneath of S9, which I just showed you. And so here we're looking at the outer web on the top, the inner web on the bottom, the left, the right, and sort of the same thing here. Okay, so the first cut, there are 3 cuts on S10. The first cut here is right here, and that is a cut from the spandrel on the left side of S10 of C1. That is C1B S1. So it's actually the top of the spandrel, but the spandrel is at the bottom of column 1. For the other 2 cuts, we have to go around to the other side here. So this column down here is actually the continuation of column 2. Now we're looking at, right here, we're looking at the right flange on column 2. This is the right flange of column 2. The cut was taken right here. So that is the right flange near the middle of column 2. That would be C2M FR1. And for the third cut, I have to get up here again. Okay, now we're actually looking at column 1. Don't know if you're going to be able to see that or not. But this is column 1 running of S10, actually running underneath the S9 tree. And the chalk markings are written on the outer web. And this is the left flange right here. And the cut was actually taken at the very end of this peeled back section. So that is the left flange near the middle of C1. That is C1M FL1. Okay, continuing on towards the back from S9 and S10, we come to M4, and those are some square cutouts near the top. That's the top of M4 up there. And now we are looking at it from the middle of M4 up to the top. The lower section is missing. And so if I can come around here. So this column here, this is column 1. And then this is column 2. We're looking at the inside of column 2, and then continuing on down here. Now we're looking at column 3. This is the inside of column 3. There are 4 cuts on column 3. The first 2 are up here near the top. So let me come around to this side here. Again, this is column 1 down here. This is column 2. This is column 3. The first cut is taken from the right flange of column 1. So this is the inner web here. This is the right flange, and this is the location of the cut. That is C1TFR1. The second cut is on column 2 near the top on the right flange, and here's the position of that cut. That is C2TFR1. The other 2 cuts are on column 3, and in order to show you those, I'm going to have to get over there somehow. So just... Okay. So now we're looking at the inside of column 3, and here's a cut on the spandrel to the right of column 3. That is it's C3T S1. The cut is right there. And finally, there's a cut from the left flange of column 3 near its middle section. So this is the inner web. This is the left flange, and this is the location of the cut. that is C3M FL1. And that's pretty much the end of that row. And I'll be moving on over and continuing on with the narration over here. Okay, continuing on over here. There are two pieces in the pile here that don't quite fit the numbering designation that we've been following so far. The first one is right here. This is C75, and there are two cuts taken from C75. One is from a spandrel and one is from a flange. And I'll just do a walk around here so that you can get sort of a flavor for the shape and the size of this particular member. To watch myself here. Okay. The first cut is taken from a flange, and that is, here's the cut right there. That designation is CXX, basically an unidentified column as to its exact location in the tree, and FX1, since we don't really know if that's a right or left flange. And the same deal here, this cut here, taken from a spandrel on C75, so that's CXX S1. Continuing over here to C76, and again, this is a structural element that does not really fit neatly into our classification scheme at this point. But just to give you an overall flavor of it here, this section here, okay, so this I-beam here, this is the eye, and this would be these are the top and bottom, the outer positions. So there are two cuts taken from C76. Oh, in addition to that I-beam there are also these plates that are, I don't know if they're welded or if they're fastened up there, but here's the first cut, that's C76-1, and then actually from what looks to be part of this I-beam up here, and that's C76-2. Okay, the final piece over here, at least at the moment, is N10, which is in the back here, and I'll be walking to the back. Okay, this is N10 here, and I will be walking. I'm walking towards the bottom of N10. I don't know. There's the cutout there. So this is the bottom of N10, and we're looking at the outer web here. There's a spandrel with some holes drilled there for a connecting plate attachment. So we're looking at columns 2, looking at column 2 here, and then to the right of it is column 3, is the end, the lower end here, column 3, kind of S-shaped curve to it. And there are 3 cuts on N10. The first one is up here. So we're looking at the left flange of column 2 right here, and that's a cut taken from the middle of column 2 on the left flange. That's C2M FL1. And the other 2 cuts are down here near the bottom. The first cut here is, see, this is C3 here. This is the outer web here. This is the right flange. And looking here now, we're looking at the inner web of column 3. And there's the cut taken there on the inner web at the bottom of column 3. That's C3B IW1. And finally, this is the spandrel at the bottom of column 3 on its right side, and that is C3B S1. And that's it, except for some of the trusses. Yeah, just do a quick walk out here. Yesterday on the 18th, the crew came out and took a couple of samples from some scaffolding over here, and there's no numbering designation that I'm aware of at this moment, so I'll just take a quick walk through and show, to the best of my knowledge, where the various cuts were made. As far as I'm aware of, there are 6 cuts on this scaffolding. Let me get an overall view of this first. As you can see, it's heavily deformed, and it'll be a good challenge to get pieces to work with from here. So I'll start at this end and work my way to the left. This is the end of this piece here. It's the first cut. And here is the second cut on a round piece of tube, or not really tube, but and it's a piece of angle iron. Here, there's the third cut. And here's another cut in a L-shaped section. Just cut there, cut there. I believe that's the 4th one. Here's another cut from a rod right here. And the 6th cut is on another L-shaped bracket right here. And that's as many as I've been able to locate. And that gets us up to date on the cuts for analysis.